Hi boys and girls. So today we're going to look further at lemonade in winter. And our learning goal is I can compare and contrast characters in a story. So you did this and you required, we're going to look at it a little bit more. So we're going to read this page from the book. So go ahead and follow along as I read. Mom shakes her head. Nobody will be on the street, she says. Don't you see it's freezing? We could still have a lemonade stand, cries Pauline, skipping with her idea. Lemonade and limeade, and also lemon limeade. Dad wrinkles his brow. Nobody will want cold drinks, he says. Don't you hear the wind? But Pauline is jumping with her idea now. Lemonade and limeade, and also lemon limeade. Doesn't it sound yum? John jumps too. Yum, yum, he cries. Can I help, please? So think about what happened on that page. Did everybody feel the same way about the lemonade stand? How did the parents feel and how did the kids feel? Pause this video for a minute. I want you to think about it. Did you think about it? We're going to look at this graphic organizer. Remember, this is called a Venn diagram. And inside the Venn diagram, there are two circles. There's a circle here, and there's a circle here. So on this side, on the outside of this circle, we're going to think about what Mom was like. And on the outside of this circle, we're going to think about what Dad was like. And in the middle, where both circles cross, we're going to write down what was the same about both Mom and Dad. So you thought about the characters. What did you think about Mom? Did you think about Mom shaking her head? She did shake her head, remember? Dad wrinkles his brow. So in the text, remember it said, Mom shakes her head, and then Dad wrinkled his brow. Mom shook her head because she was worried about the freezing weather. Remember, she said, it's freezing out there. Dad was worried about the wind. Remember, he said, don't you hear the wind? Mom thinks no one will be outside. Dad thinks no one will want lemonade. So those are the things that were different about them. They both had a very similar opinion, right? Mom shook her head. Dad wrinkled his brow. Mom was worried about the cold weather. Dad was worried about the wind. Mom didn't think anyone would be outside, which would also mean that no one would want to buy lemonade. They both think having a lemonade stand in winter is not a good idea. So that's the same for both of them. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go grab this graphic organizer. So you'll probably have to go check your list real quick and see what tub your teacher has it in or what file folder. So go ahead and pause and go get it. Okay, are you back? All right, so now you should have this graphic organizer in your hand. Notice it's the same one we just used, but the titles on top are different. So now we're going to look at John and Dad. And we're going to look at how both of them are the same and how they're both different. So I want you to pause this and I want you to fill in what Dad was like and what John was like. So you're going to put that in this graphic organizer, okay? So go ahead and pause. I'm going to leave this page up and I want you to reread it. And I want you to write down what Dad thought and what John thought. Make sure you paused. Okay, so now you should have your graphic organizer filled in. So let's look at this. Did you say for Dad's side that Dad wrinkles his brow? That was one way to describe Dad. John did not wrinkle his brow, so that's something that was different for Dad. Dad said, nobody will want cold drinks. Did you write that down too? Yeah. John doesn't think that, does he? Dad, again, was worried about the wind. Now we're going to look at John. John jumps. So remember, Dad wrinkled his brow. John jumps up and down. John John thinks that the lemonade is going to be delicious. He says, yum, yum. Dad doesn't think anybody will want cold drinks. John John thinks it'll be yum. John John wants to help. Does Dad want to help? No, he thinks it's a bad idea, right? Here's John John. Does he look excited or happy? Or does he look mad? I think he looks like he's really happy about this idea. So on your paper, if I go back, hold on, right here, you should have written how Dad felt about the lemonade stand and how John John felt about the lemonade stand. For how they're both the same, well, they're both in the same house, right? They are both boys, and they're both inside during the winter. So those are some things that are the same for both of them. They don't have as much the same on that page because they both disagree with the lemonade stand. Dad thinks it's a bad idea, and John John thinks it's a spectacular idea. But there are some similarities about them. They're both related. They're in the same family. They're boys. They're in the winter. They're in the same house. So there's a lot of things you could put down for both and how they're both the same. So our learning goal was that I can compare and contrast characters in a story. And first we did that with Mom and Dad, and now we did it with John John and Dad. Make sure that you take your paper and put your name on it. Make sure you used nice handwriting and put it in your binder so you can turn it into your teacher to show her your great learning. Thanks for joining me.